Welcome to the first video in the Noobs to Power Users series for Mac, where we're going to teach you how your computer works and all the things you need to know to be able to do awesome things with your computer. So let's get started by looking at files and folders, because those are the basic units of work. Files and folders is how everything is organized on your computer, and you have to understand where things go and where things are to be able to work with them. So let's get started. The way we're going to start is by opening up Finder. Finder is the way that you interact with files on your Mac computer. It's always here in the dock. It's the one program that you can't get rid of from the dock because it's always open, because it's how files work. And again, files are essential to how your computer works. The first thing that we're going to notice here on the left, we have our sidebar that shows you applications, desktop, documents, and downloads. Those are just a handful of folders that are by default selected as favorites. You can remove any of them by right-clicking and removing from the sidebar, and they will pop off of that list. We're going to leave those for now because there's some other more important things that we want to do. As power users, we need full access to everything on the computer. We're not content with what Apple decides is important for us, so we are going to click up in the top left and Finder and choose settings there. And then we're going to choose a couple different options in that menu. The first one we're going to choose, we're going to go to the sidebar and select Ryan. In that case, this is my folder. This is my home folder. I want my home folder because I want that to be right there in the favorites bar on the sidebar. The second thing that we're going to select is hard disks. You'll see that there. It's half selected because it's half showing, and we want to see all of the hard disks because we want to know everything that's on our computer so that we can look at everything that's on our computer. So I'm going to check that box, and then we're done for now with the Finder settings. We'll come back to it maybe in another video and edit some other things, but we're going to close that, and then we're going to take a look at what changed. First of all, we have now our home folder. That is the home directory for our user. Mine's called Ryan because that's my name. Yours will be called something else. And here in that folder, we have our desktop, our documents, our downloads, movies, music, pictures, and a public folder. You'll notice some of those are shared over here. The desktop folder is what controls what shows up on the desktop, and you can add or remove things from that folder to show them over here on your desktop of the computer. Documents folder shows contains your documents. Downloads is where downloads go by default when you're in Safari or Firefox or any web browser. Downloading files, that's where those go, movie, music, pictures, etc. That's all great. That's our home directory. That's where things go for our user. And that's pretty much where most of your work is going to be done, inside one of those directories inside of your home directory. You'll notice one of the things in the sidebar is missing though, and that's the applications folder. So let's find where that is by going here to locations and find the one that says Macintosh HD. That is the hard drive for this computer, the disk that stores all of the things that this computer has, including the operating system, the library, which has some other things. We'll look at that some other time, and the applications folder. And here we find our applications folder. And inside of this users folder, guess what we're going to find? We're going to find our Ryan folder. My user folder is there inside the Macintosh HD, users, Ryan. That is my home directory. That's where it is in the hierarchy of things. So this Macintosh HD takes you to the very root, the very base of your hard disk, and everything on your hard drive, everything on your computer is stored in one of these folders that's there. And again, remember, inside of users, inside of whatever your username is your user's home directory. That's where you're going to do most of your work. I like having the hard drive there because sometimes you need to get to other folders on the computer, and it's good to know that those are there. So now let's play around with the home directory a little bit. I'm going to add a new folder. Let's say I want to do some coding, and I want to make a new folder for all of my code. I'm going to call it code because that makes sense. And then let's say I want to be able to access this folder easily. I don't want to have to go to my home directory and whatever. I'm just going to drag that folder right on over to the favorites bar, drop it there, and now anytime I want to, I can go to that folder just by clicking on the favorites. The nice thing about adding it to the favorites there is that it shows up in your save menus and other programs to make it easier to find those folders that you want. You can add or remove things. So let's remove our documents folder just for the heck of it. Our documents folder is now no longer in the favorites. It's not there, and we can just drag it back over and add it back up. We can reorder things if we want. We can remove applications because we know where applications is. If we want, we can go back here and re-add it again. Now you'll notice my code folder here isn't quite lined up with the rest of them. That's a simple thing to fix, and I like to fix it because I get annoyed when things aren't quite lined up the way they should. I can just open up this little menu here, go to sort by, and choose snap to grid, and then I'm going to drag that, and it's just going to gently slide it over to fit in line with the other ones, and I can move it back and forth and do all those things. So now the last thing we're going to do is create a new file, and we're going to put it on that desktop folder. So I'm going to open a new program, and I'm going to do that by using a little application that's built into your computer called Spotlight. You can press Command Spacebar to open up Spotlight Search. And I'm going to open a program that's also built into your computer called TextEdit. And I'm just going to put hello there. And then I'm going to choose File, Save. And I'm going to put that in my desktop folder. Here it is in Favorites. I can put it anywhere that I want, though, by pressing that little down arrow and opening this menu, and that opens the full Finder menu. So I can choose the desktop. I'm going to call it hello and save. And you'll notice the hello document has now shown up on my desktop. And if we navigate in Finder to the desktop, the hello document is also there. So now we know the basics of how things work on our computer, including the entire hierarchy of files, not just the basic ones that Apple gives us access to by default, but everything that's on our computer, and we can navigate and we can find anything that we need to anywhere on our computer.